Welcome to Rock Solid, the Round Rock Business Leaders podcast. Join your host, Bryan Eisenberg, as he explores the journeys of entrepreneurs and companies across Round Rock, Texas. From startups and nonprofits to large organizations, each guest shares their passion for doing business in this thriving community. Let's dive in.
Hi, everybody. It's Bryan Eisenberg. Welcome to Rock Solid. I'm here today joined by my friend Nico Martinez. Welcome.
Hey, Bryan. Thank you for having me.
You know, I don't think I've seen you outside of like A Million Cups or Business Leader Series. I don't think ever. So, yeah, it's nice to see you in the studio.
Yeah, I know. Nice to be here. It's like a pretty nice place. Like you guys have it really well set up.
You have been in the entrepreneur world for a very long time. You're now consulting to a bunch of startups as well. Let's talk a little bit about how your journey got there, because you started working with big corporations like Ticketmaster and NBCUniversal and other software companies, which we're not going to name because they're painful for both of us. But yeah, tell us how you got to that point.
Yeah, so I'm originally from Argentina, and I started my career back there. And then I always have this vision and ambition of moving to the U.S. And so I start step by step trying to get there. And so I ended up getting a job with Cognizant back in Argentina when they were just starting there. And even though it's a humongous corporation, in Argentina, it was just starting, so it felt like a small shop. And I was exposed to multiple clients, building teams from scratch, interviewing people, and I was like in a first-name basis with the leadership team because I was employee number one on what I was doing. So there was a lot of quick development in my career at an early age. And then after a few years of building that up there was an opportunity to move to the U.S. So they, got me my visa and all the stuff, and I moved to work for Ticketmaster Live Nation in L.A., still through Cognizant. Spent a few years there, loved that job. That, I guess from an engineering standpoint, that was the most challenging and fun job that I ever had. The team was amazing. The project was fun. People hated Ticketmaster, but it was, good to be part of turning that around slightly, at least. And yeah, it was an amazing opportunity. And then from there, I managed to go to NBCUniversal, work in the most corporate company structure that you can imagine. A lot of travels from LA to New York, and being in the Rockefeller Center, Times Square, and all those kind of things. And it was fun, but it wasn't what I was looking
you enjoyed
for.
Yeah.
So, but you have to make those steps. You need to be in corporate. You need to be in enterprise to learn those things, make the connections, so then you can actually learn what you want to do from that and what you don't want to be on that aspect as well. So then I decided to take my first stab at leading a team in a company, if you will. And I took a job as head of engineering for a startup in Pasadena, back in California, and build a team from the ground up. I started exploring nearshoring there directly with the company, and I felt that was where I was at my best. Building a team, challenging at the highest level, interacting with investors and board members alike, but also, being boots in the ground till I could build that team. And that was a really pleasant experience. And then, had to prioritize family. And we decided to move from LA to here to Round Rock to, have more space for the kids, better schooling, all the nice things that you guys are aware of.
Yeah.
And I ended up, taking a job here, trying to move pretty much, and then after a while move again to do another head of engineering role, another startup, same kind of situation, reshape the whole team. They took a team from like 10 people to almost 30, more responsibilities, my first official CTO role, on paper, and I noticed that the more ownership I took, the more I could expand my focus and my impact, the better results we were getting. And I started to, talk to people and started consulting as a fractional CTO in some places. And I realized that I didn't need to be 40 to 50 hours a week somewhere to have an impact. And sometimes it's just, 1 hour that you need to make a mark, other times it's 40. But in general, there's a myth that the CTO is your first hire and you have to be super involved. And that's actually not quite so. In most cases, it's a waste of capital.
Because CTOs are not cheap.
CTOs are not cheap. Most likely, I know the CTO is the most expensive resource on your company, unless you're in AI or something like that, and then you can have a random engineer being the most expensive person. But that put me in this journey of like, I had tried before starting my own thing, and we had a few clients here and there, and I was moonlighting, and it was enjoyable, but it was more engineering work and not so much leadership and advising work. And 2+ years ago, I decided to take the leap and started in Prosigliere with my partner Ryan, and it's been amazing. The amount of exposure that we get to different challenges and different problems, and from tiny startups of 1 people to 10 people to medium-sized companies to enterprise and everything in between, it gets me going. Like, I was telling a friend the other day, it's like, I couldn't stop this and go take a CTO job now. It's like, it wouldn't fulfill me. This is like, I'm dealing with 8, 9 clients at a time. There's all these different challenges. Everything is different, technologies, organizations, and being able to coach them and help them and see that through their success, we're growing and getting better at it is really rewarding, on top of being enjoyable and, part of my passion as well.
Rock Solid is produced and recorded at Round Rock Studio. Located right here in Round Rock, our state-of-the-art studio is built for podcasters and creatives alike. We offer multiple professionally designed podcast sets, top-notch recording gear, and a full photography studio ready for any project. Whether you're launching a new podcast or upgrading your existing one, we can help with multi-camera recording, editing, and everything you need for success. Record with us at Round Rock Studio, your local podcasting partner.
What's interesting to me when I look at what you do at Prosigliere, you've built quite a big distributed team around the world. Yeah. And to manage those teams, and you integrate those teams into the companies you work with. Yeah. What does it take to have that kind of leadership? Because you're really very people-centered on top of this technology. So what does it take to manage such a distributed team?
That's the biggest challenge. No, it's like, I know what I can do, and I know that I can manage, let's say 20 people or so to success. But that is not a company in the consultancy world. The margins are small. The projects don't always last a long time. So you have to be always recycling and growing and changing. So for me, the biggest thing was developing a leadership team that could do what I do. And then now we're on the next stage, which is developing our manager team to be able to do what my leaders do, and so on and so forth. And that takes a lot of relationship building, culture, and caring. You have to care about the people you work with. And the more you do that, the less you notice that they're sitting in Sao Paulo or Buenos Aires or Rosario or Rio. Doesn't matter. We're all remote. And we purposely don't have an office here because, sometimes it gets in the way of doing productive things, but it forces us to be remote first, and all of our communications happen either via email or Slack. Our all hands is on Meet, and we're all on camera and trying to, share as much as possible. But it creates a flow of information that makes everybody feel included. The other part is like the core of the team. Let's call it the first 12, 15 people. We have been working together for way longer than just Prosigliere.
Okay.
So my directors of engineering now, I've been working with them, in 2 or 3 companies. Same with my tech leads and people now that are managers in the company. They're not, except a few new ones that we just brought in. We knew each other from before, and we knew what to expect and how to build those things. And that for me is what allowed us to fast track that. And after that, it's just hiring with intention. It's really easy, having worked for big consultancy agencies to see everybody as a number and going with like, if the client likes them, we'll bring them in because it's available. We don't do that. We do a very interesting process with the candidates before even presenting it to the clients in a way that we wouldn't present anybody to a client that we wouldn't hire ourselves because we're hiring them. And we don't want to hire somebody for a project. We hire them to staff up our organization, and today you're working on this project, tomorrow I'm working on this other one. There's internal things. We're now starting to do some product development as well. So there's a lot of these, making everybody believe and understand that Prosigliere is their first team, and we are now helping this client and this other client. And it takes a mindset. Consultancy is not for everybody. But the people that embrace consultancy and enjoy it, they don't want to move to something else. So, and luckily for us, which is the other big issue, is the growth challenge. You have a lot of great people, and there comes a point that it's really hard to give them the next step. And we've been doing so well lately that those opportunities are presenting itself. So there's a lot of internal growth and promotions and more responsibilities for the people that are already on the team, and that helps a lot with keeping the team together, have some cohesiveness, and always work on that culture.
Now, I know you have a huge passion for entrepreneurship, let alone obviously on the tech side, but you've been like I said, part of these big corporate teams. You've consulted to companies that through the consultancy through all sizes, and now you, like you said, you deal with everything from one-person startups to bigger. And I'm curious if you've come across some very common things that seem to get those businesses stuck. They can't move forward.
Yeah. The founders.
Okay.
The founders are the key to success of a business, and also most often than not the reason why they don't succeed. And not because they are bad at what they do, it's because they can't let go of what they're not experts at. It happens a lot coming as a consultant that they want, we need 2-3 engineers to build this. You want to talk about it? Because I show you, how do you know that that's what you should build? Well, I talked to this person and that person, and they feel, okay, well, let's help you. And that's kind of the issue, every founder, every company, it doesn't matter if you're 10 people or 100, they know their product till they don't. And that's the part that is really hard to advise them on. They feel that that's their baby. And
it's hard to call their baby ugly.
Well, it's not ugly. It's like, hey, your baby should be speaking already. So
well, whatever, the delays.
So let's help you there. And that is being the issue. It's like sometimes they have convictions that may be so, but not at this time. They need, the steps to get there. Same thing when, somebody funds a company and hires their friend as CTO, their cousin as accountant, and they're all great till they hit the block, till they don't know how to prepare a pitch deck or do a diligence for an investor, and then those deals don't come through and the company ends up going bankrupt, not because they're bad people or they're not good at their job, it's just they haven't done those things. It's that premise of like the team that brought you here is not the team that's going to take you there most of the time. That tends to be the biggest issue and where I see companies struggling. I had clients that brought us in for advice, and we did diligence, we talked to them, we showed them what it should be, and they don't agree. And others do, but some don't, and that's perfectly fine. Like, it's not for everybody. It's like you hire a consultant or an expert for something, call it to renovate your house or to build software, and they're going to give you their ideas, what they see, what they compare to in the market, and sometimes it's up to you to take it or leave it, or maybe bring a different expert for a different consultation and then find a way. But yeah, that's been the biggest hurdle that I see with companies not being successful. Like, the ideas are there, and then the other part, which is key, is failure at execution.
Yes.
It's like
100%. 100%. That's the one thing. Even when I was advising startups as well, we'd always give them a little project to do, some small recommendation, and if they couldn't execute it in a timely manner, we knew we didn't want to advise them because the chance of success was so minimal.
Yeah, but if you think that at the leadership level, it's even more impactful. Like when a CEO or a CTO or a CFO fail at execution, there's no recourse for the rest of the company. There's nothing that an engineering manager or a
an outside
controller can do to change that. If they, and I saw this happen many times, they go and raise money with a certain premise, with a certain pitch, trying to do X. Once they get the money, they pivot to what they actually wanted to do. That wasn't going to get them the money. And then 6 months later, they're scrambling because that's not working out. There's not much you can do at that point. Like, And I'm sure you've been there. It's not easy, but you try to advise, you try to steer in the right direction, but at the end of the day, it's their company.
Well, and my friend Juan Damiev, who started Rocket Beat, and his analysis, he's got a credit kind of like a risk system for startups and investors. And the team is a critical component to that. And there's a reason why, when you're going into pitch investors, they want to know who's on the team. They want to understand how they think, because that is such a limiting factor.
Yeah, absolutely. I was actually reading a post the other day, somebody in LinkedIn posting that, the real testament of the company direction is when you ask your CTO or technology leader if they would invest in the product that they're building. If they say yes, that company is going to succeed. Even they don't need to put the money, but if they feel that they want to be that is successful. But most of the time, you find them saying, no
it's
way.
Just a job.
It's just I don't buy into this because we're not going where we should be going, and that is a huge red flag, and it happens in more companies than not.
I'm just curious because, yes, technology is obviously evolving. We talk a lot about AI coding and vibe coding and stuff like that today. And, I know you guys are doing a lot with AI as well. And you get people like Brent, right, from around, so he's built a couple little apps with AI. Is AI going to replace these technologists the way we think it is? Or the way the hype is explaining it today?
I'm not a believer in that. I think that AI, like any tool out there, is going to make the great people better. Mm-hmm. It's going to make also the barrier of entry for junior engineers higher.
Yep.
There's a big issue now that with the world globalized as it is, a person that just graduated from UT is asking you 30% more than a person with 10 years of experience in Brazil. Mm-hmm. And they want to work remotely, they want to work from the mountains, and they don't have the experience. And that is causing that, stress now in the job market. And now there's a lot of AI tools that could easily replace a junior engineer. Not a senior engineer or a tech lead or an architect, but a junior engineer can be, you can pay a subscription. It may cost like, $30,000 to $50,000 a year for your whole team, and it gives your 10 senior engineers 2x the productivity for the price of half junior engineer in Austin. That is the issue. Now you're gonna see that spread. Like technology has always been a high salary to get in, and now that's getting deprecated. And I see the same on the product side. There's a lot of very qualified leaders and product managers and so on and so forth is struggling to find a job because
I know a bunch of them. Yeah.
Now with AI, the group product manager, let's call it, can do the job of 2-3 people. So that team that was before of 5 or 6 product managers now is of 2 or 3, and it's hard to see because there's a lot of really important thinking and research that has to be done, and AI is as powerful as the person using it. So if you know what you're doing and you try to use it for what it's meant to be, you're going to have great results. If you want to create things from scratch just because tools like Lovable let you do it, that's fantastic. Prototyping is beautiful. When you put that into a production environment, that's going to...
Or environment you need to scale.
Yeah. It's not going to work out, and then the people are not ready for the conversation 3 months later of like, hey, now you have to spend $50,000 redoing this. Because, no, I already spent it in marketing, so what do we do now? So, yeah, that's part of the issue. But there's a lot of great tools out there, and if you know what you're doing with them, you can increase your productivity a lot. But I don't see it replacing it. In fact, all this vibe coding situation that we're seeing now is going to have a huge market for refactors and fixes and all those kind of things in the next 12 to 18 months.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to give you some of the more challenging questions. So we know you're originally from Argentina.
Yes, sir.
You're now here in Round Rock, Texas. We'll talk later about how you chose Round Rock out of all cities. Mm-hmm. But here's the important question. Are we choosing Texas barbecue or parrillada?
Asado.
Okay, un asado.
Yeah, there's no contest.
Okay.
The Texas barbecue is amazing. It's a different thing. It's like for me, it's almost like you tell me, hey, do you want sushi or pasta? They're not the same thing, even though they're both meat-based in this case.
Okay. Yeah. Cold brew or mate?
Mate.
Mate, okay. So what's the one thing that Round Rock beats Argentina at, hands down?
The community.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, it's, living in Argentina, the community, the economic status, and all those things. Like in Argentina, 13 years ago, I was, going to the grocery store, buying, water and some food and whatever, going back home, going the next day and paying for the same card double.
Mm-hmm.
And there was no way of predicting that. Also, there was a lot of insecurity, if you will. You can go out and get mugged. Like there's no way that you would go into a coffee shop and put your phone on the table and just talk because somebody's going to take it from you. But overall, it was like, for me, the key thing is like I had a really good job, really well paid and everything. And I was, in my mid-20s. And the idea of buying a home was uncanny.
Yeah.
It was like we were thinking about a variable rate loan at, for people that don't know much about Argentina, 35% year-over-year annual rate kind of thing. So it's impossible to predict, and you can't even do it. And then moving here to the U.S., even though I moved to LA first, I was able to buy a house between 2-3 years and a car, and having the same job for the same company. So it was just that alone. And here in Round Rock is, the ability of, having a big city close to a metro area that is continuously expanding, the amount of greenery and open space that we have here, the schooling, the people in general. Like, why I picked Round Rock over Austin. Well, Austin is nice, and it's 20 minutes away or 30, 45, depending on the time of the day.
Exactly.
But this one has a vibe that felt better with me. It's like you can always go for a walk, even though it's 100 degrees sometimes, and you can have your kids playing on the street, and you feel safe, and that is really hard to quantify. And I didn't know anything about the the Round Rock Chamber, all the events and all those things that I started getting more familiar with by being here. But overall was the vibe. Like I came in 2017 to look for houses, and I went all around the Austin area. And once I started driving through Round Rock, and at that point, like Paloma Lake was being developed. There was all these neighborhoods that now they're old, but at that point were all brand new, and it felt right. It felt nice, and there was no traffic. And I remember my first job here was in all the way south of downtown. And my commute from here was like 45 minutes. And people at the office would look at me like, why do you drive so much? And it's like, I'm coming from LA. My commute was 90 minutes each way without traffic.
And that's only 1 mile.
Yeah. And it's like, in LA, I couldn't take a job. Like I passed on a job at Google because my drive to Venice Beach was 2.5 hours.
Right.
That's just not going to happen. And here it's like, the worst I can do is like 45 minutes, and I can pay toll to skip it. So it's a thing of beauty. Yeah.
Awesome. If you were going to give advice to startups interested to coming to the Round Rock community, what would you tell them to do?
To absolutely check out the Round Rock Chamber events and the people around there. There's an incredible amount of people that are just there to help you with no second interest, no trying to sell you anything. The amount of events and gatherings, they're more than what a busy person can handle. And we try our best to be in all of them, but it's really nice to see the amount of entrepreneurship, the amount of people that are trying to start something from scratch, the amount of people that are already in that stage that I don't know what to do, how do you help me, and people that are actually succeeding at it. There's a lot of the right things, and it's part of like you don't have to be in an overpriced apartment downtown Austin to get access to those people. In fact, those people are not there.
Yep.
The people that are there are more like funded or need a space in an office, or they're younglings that are barely starting and trying to make their mark. Like if you're talking about people in their mid-30s to mid-40s trying to build their first company after having enterprise or corporate experience, Round Rock, Cedar Park, Leander, like the north of Austin area is where it's at. It's where you're going to find most of those people. Nobody wants to drive south of the domain anymore.
It's why Williamson County is the fastest growing county,
Absolutely.
right? We heard that from Judge Gravel. Yeah, it's a big thing. If people have more questions for you, or maybe they need some advice about getting their startup going, or with the technology or software development, what's the best way that they can find you and connect with you?
Yeah, so they can find me on LinkedIn at Nico Martinez. Prosigliere is really easy to find. Otherwise,
not easy to spell, but easy to find.
Yeah. Otherwise, via email, nico@prosigliere.com, and that's nico@prosigliere.com. Hopefully I did it right. And yeah, we're always glad to hear from people that need help and advice. And like I said, I'm always down to grab a coffee or to stay afterwards on the 1 Million Caps or the Business Leaders series, or Spark, or any of the other events that you guys
or a mate.
Mate. Yeah, always.
Thank you so much for your time today, Nico.
No, I really appreciate you having me here, Bryan.